Alright, welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, Millennium Dawn modded playthrough of Chechnya. Actually, let's get the right view of Chechnya. We're about to go to war. Expansionary conquest for resources as the United States of Europe and their Western alliance in conflict with NATO, actually, is expanding their control as they have taken over Iraq completely. The Iraqis are now a state of the United States of Europe. And that's a scary thought for us as Chechens. Because we are trapped. We are geopolitically locked in by NATO, the Western Alliance, and the CSTO. So let's go for the CSTO, the paper tigers that they are, hopefully. That's my wish. Like, most wishful of thinking at this point. Does look like they will have supply issues because they haven't built out their desert at all, which will bode very well for us in the long run, as long as their tanks are not strong. But who knows? Who actually knows how that might go? Looks like production-wise, we are still significantly short on materials. So our production is limited to what we have here, trying to fulfill our deficits. I don't know what is absorbing the bulk of our tank requirement. Now that I'm looking at that. That is significant. I know the anti-air, that I am aware of, but the tanks is a little weird to me. We are fast running out of things to research. And if I one day figure out what I was missing for space technology for Chechnya, or if it's actually not coded into the mod for Chechens, which is horrible and puts you at a huge disadvantage. That's worse than even the start. Because at least as Burundi I could do space. But that was just a generic... Wow. Burundi and Rwanda are still at war and not a part of the Republic of Africa. They would rather fight to the death. I love it. That is very Burundi of them. And Rwandan. Burundian. There you go. The right words. Also, Somalia. I'm also figuring out why I dislike attacking Somalia. I do remember we managed it in the Burundi playthrough. I could do it with air forces, just getting a bunch of air infantry and just swarming as they build out their attack plan against us. And maybe put my own tanks here to just defend. I don't know. But those US... unless I take the whole country in like 4 days, which is... I need to just air raid everything all at once. I could do it. And it actually could be done. That's actually something I might need to think about. It'll be after the Great Kazakhstan War that this happens, but I think it's very possible. Alright, alright, alright. War deck. 23rd of this year. We do have our half supported Marines, supplied Marines here. They're missing all their equipment. But they are pulling some wild defense numbers. So, not too worried about it, actually. I'm actually quite happy with this. Future drone tech for the helis. Alright, so we can go into naval, full-on ship research. The thing that we least wanted to do, or I least wanted to do, y'all may not have cared. We definitely want more fuel gain. That's army support realistically. We got more boats, and we can actually put these into a Mediterranean theater fleet. We're gonna call this Mediterranean. Alright, I need to call upon all the North African and European nations to come up with a much easier name to spell. This American education thing, it doesn't work for me, guys. It just doesn't work. Like, that name is crazy long. And it's too difficult. That's just where I stand on that. I don't have any. Like, let's see. Can I get a new commander? Sure. Sure, guy. You're our guy. Zargon. Zargan. Sorry, not gone. Gan. I apologize if that is a real name. That is crazy. It's actually kind of cool. I could totally utilize that. Yeah, so I'm doing a thing. I think that I can take these. So I need 3, 4, 5 ships, basically. To control the water, and then I can conquer this, and we can go to South America and get away from whatever's happening all over here. But let's keep going. I gotta finish Somaliland twice because I've screwed up, and everyone has to deal with that because of me. All right, so we're paying off the debt. Looks like that is significantly lowering our interest as well. So we are beating our population growth, increasing our expenses if we tax the living hell out of our companies. That is what I'm seeing. But we have to tax the ever-loving hell out of them for however long this is going to take. And then let's check actually on our employment. Yeah, our office employment is terrible. It's actually going down, which is horrible. It's actually horrible. Why is that going down? We're losing migration rate from productivity, I guess. Yeah, but it shouldn't go down. Unless more of the unless I lost all that workforce because I increased the military. That might be what's happening. Then we're frozen. Probably due to IFVs. No main battle tanks there. That's cool. Here it's IFVs, of course. Both IFVs and main battle tanks. So, yeah, I can't resupply anything right now. Reinforcement. Upgrades. Supply trucks. What are we... Garrisons are short. Everything. They're just short. 259 IFVs. Oh my god. The stupid garrisons, man. Alright, how's control? Because if I can switch these to not be IFVs, I might do it. Yeah, it's like at 49. If I just use infantry. How about I don't return the territory? How about that, guys? How about I just not do that? What now? Yeah, I get better coverage with these guys because of the equipment, I bet. You can do scorched earth policies in territories that you temporarily control. Wait, so can I scorched earth stuff I'm about to lose? I didn't know that was a feature. How long does that last? Does that last even... like, that's kind of wild. It's actually funny. It's very realistic. Alright, so... one infantry fighting vehicle is really not what I would be expecting for a frontline force. Not great. What's our production? Almost to 8 a day. We're basically capped out. I'd have to bump this, and then we're going to be short tech metals for not hypersonic, but for cruise missiles right now, and SAMs. Probably bombers as well. I just can't see it. I assume it's part of the bomber requirement for our B1s. We actually do have a fair number of B1s though. That's cool. I need to get those air wings up. So let's do a check here. Where do we want to base them out of? Coastal regions are pretty good for defense. This is pretty coastal, even though it's protected by a mountain. This would actually be a good place. Where are these? 25 per, so we could run 2 wings. Strategic bombers. We'll have strategic bombing. Oh god. Of that region and this region. Then from here, we pretty much can do some more air supply stuff. But I do want to run... Where is our... Let's see, our Mogadishu MR1. There should be an MRA1. We're going to run that out of this base. And this, my friends, is our CAS. And our CAS is going up here. We'll probably lose them immediately. But that's our CAS. Our close air support. Supporting our troops in their endeavors. And oh my god, I did not realize Kazakhstan took all this territory or has all this territory this high. It's a good thing I'm making those other infantry divisions if I ever do actually produce them. And we will have our justification in a month, I believe, to finish up Somaliland. And we're short resources, guys. We're short technical resources. Like, I am able to update stuff, so let me drop that. That might help. And we did have enough anti-air produced. We got ahead of the game there. We do not have enough Mogadishus. I am going to need to bump up tank production a lot. But I don't have a means of trading for the resources we need. Period. End of story. It's just not going to happen. Also, definitely taking that decision is what is boosting my money. The business industry decision. Dear God, is that a lot of money that will be shifted up and down. That's kind of scary. Because if I let it drop... Oh, and that's not fun. When's the election? 2047? See, I can't lose the election to this Western aligned nation powers. Hold up. What are we looking at? We want a non-aligned propaganda campaign. Definitely running it. Gonna hurt our income significantly. Can I do this? Let me do it. Oh, cool. We have no elections. Alright, well, I'm just doing that for fun then. We're just having fun with that. We'll combat foreign Yeah. Who cares about nationalist support? We just change flag to autocratic flag. What does this do? I've never done the full autocrat thing, honestly. Never gone that route. Should I? Y'all have to comment. I want to see, like... Maybe I pin a comment. And y'all just like the pinned comment or comment on there if you want to see the ruling party flag change. I don't know. I think I like the Chechen flag. We'll keep it as it is. If that's the original one, I don't even know. And we need these plain stuff. Alright, let's finish up Somaliland. This should have happened 2 years ago. Alright. African forces, commence your operation. I've already eliminated their army. So this is purely an exercise in utility by them if they're defending anything. They should just give up. I don't know why they didn't just give up, but they did not. Alright, cool. We captured all their stuff. Great news, they capitulated. Great news for me, it's not for them. They are now occupied again. So where's the war? Look at that African Union here. I love that. That looks cool. There we go. So this is what I was waiting for. Puppet. Puppet Somaliland. Submit demand. Yes. Yes. They are puppeted now. I don't know why I didn't make sure they were last time. but I didn't. And here we are. 2 years later, spending time dealing with that. All right. So, things we can do to help this go along. Definitely airbase, radar stations, SHORAD sites. Energy's already done. Fuel. They have plenty of industry. Oh my god. Naval yards. They could take a ton of naval yards. Naval bases. They definitely can have some naval bases. Land forts all over. Tons of forts, too. Rail lines. I'm sure they'll take an experimental naval facility if we want. There's tons to add to this nation. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And the war shall end. Yeah, we bombed the ever-loving hell out of them very quickly there. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and provide assistance. Boost the political party. And we'll get our income back fixed pretty shortly here. Yep. There we go. And we finished hypersonic missiles. Guess we could get last tier of train. Get modern trains. I love that Europe is trying to goad us into a fight already. So that's clearly what you want to see. They're not fighting back against autonomy yet, so not worried about it. Non-aligned propaganda. How long does that last? Now I'm regretting the propaganda thing. Three more months. It is what it is. Alright, so we're going to war with Kazakhstan when? February 1st of this year, so 1 month. Yeah, we're really not ready for this by any stretch. So let's go ahead and get our forces to the right continent for this. We're gonna go ahead and back ourselves over here. Where's our current contact line was there. Our Africa command forces that we have, we're actually going to move up here. And we are going to generate a new line of contact with Army Group 2. So the leader of Army Group 2 is going to declare a new front line. And we are actually only going to be across a partial section of this. Probably a line of contact right there, so we'll have the two groups. And we'll go again for this coastal region, and then we want to cut this off from there. We want to go here. So we'll make that swing. Yeah, I'm not real worried. We're gonna go ahead and have SOCOM stop training right now for a second as I split these off into different operation groups. All right, so this can be the training division. And this is some commander. I guess he's a general that was free hanging, like free floating because he was in Africa Command. I guess, can I promote from field commander? We'll go ahead and promote this guy. I probably should have done that with the others. Yeah, what's his thing? I guess he's infantry, so that's better than... It'd be better if he was special forces. Yeah, he would be good for one of these groups. We'll deal with it later, though. Bloat is a real thing, so we're gonna make them into an army group. We'll go ahead and... Oh, we don't have enough command power right now. Alright, well, we're not gonna do anything then. We are just going to camp here, though. We're just gonna spread out. And then our 10 units are going through the Suez Canal at this moment. From our Africa Command, they're moving into Eurasia Command, or Home Command. And I think they'll be arriving on that front line right as the war starts. And we'll see how our defensive building is gone. Our preparations were good enough or not. And the rest of this playthrough, how that's going to go. This is kind of make or break for the whole thing. Interesting. I guess that is the shortest route. Go along our major rail lines. I could put something right there too, I guess. Yeah, if I connected that right there, that makes that shorter, I guess. That would help. But in any way, like any case, no matter how you look at it, this is fairly decent. Production wise. Yeah, we're doing okay. We've got 2 days. We're gonna go ahead and get this started. Oh no, sorry. There's 31 days in January, right? January 31st. Yeah, so another day. We're making 10 IFVs a day almost. Or almost to 8 actually, technically, but Alright. We're gonna go ahead and get this started and see how this goes. I'm interested to see how the air war starts off. Make sure no one guaranteed by Tajikistan. So we'll go to war with Tajikistan. Alright. So we're gonna do that. And what we're going to do is use our second army group as our primary assaulting force right now. So they are doing an information campaign. I'm not going to use our ground units yet. I want our tanks to penetrate into this deserty land first. And then we'll just hold the mountains while they have those bonuses. Alright, so we can get our final year's ICBMs, anti-air missiles for ships. We definitely want maxed. I think these helicopters are taking hits. So our IFE groups look like they are having some sort of supply and attrition issues. I would imagine, yeah, I might be able to take some of these infantry groups and manually force this up into these mountains. And we can get an encirclement on some of those units if we wanted. Yeah, as they're trying to reinforce that front line. Alright, so what are we kind of looking at? So they have... Oh, those are ours? But we have reserves. Their armored forces are significantly better in soft attack, hard attack, and breakthrough. We do have air support. They are attacking from multiple directions. So that is interesting. I think they just have very wide armor divisions. And it looks like we did have a naval battle here, which is planes. Okay, so they are blunting us. They have the intel advantage. Okay. So let's go ahead and enact some of these ground movements. Put pressure on this forces. We want to fill the gaps and just start stacking these. I want to get to this mountainous region if we can, and preferably to those airports. Yeah, so we are losing. Yeah. Yeah, they are moving their tanks around. If we could have took that port, that would have been huge. The air battle. Like we do have air superiority, but what are we missing? Okay, so our planes are dealing damage, I guess, is what I'm reading. I don't know. It just looks like we're extending their supply lines. Possibly. As we are moving. Yep, so we've pulled a lot of their forces out. Looks like they've actually lost a lot of planes to our really old vessels. Or more planes than I would have thought they'd lose. That's pretty funny. Looks like they are losing in the mountains still. Alright, so I'm going to move some of our planes. So our air interception is now going to move into this region. So is some of our, if not all of our air superiority. As we've moved away from our own border. I'm going to see what this does to our air war numbers. And then we'll go ahead and spend some command power over here. And then what we're going to do now, because they burned through their intel, is use our intel bonus for Kazakhstan. And start pushing. I want them out of this desert land so their tanks do not have an advantage over our units. As long as we can keep them in this mountainous region or along these rivers, we're in a much more advantageous location and position. Yep. They're taking supply issues. They have to pull those units out. I think we should basically just be running these downs over and over and over and over again. Just kind of a meat grinder. For now, Marines. They are fairly supplied. They're supplied enough that we can actually do what we need to do. So let's go look around here for ports. So this is one port we're going to need. Where's their capital? Where is their capital? Their capital is way over there. Okay. There's a lot of ground to work through here. We'll just... Yeah, we're just going to naval invade right here, take this port in this airfield. That's going to be first step. Go ahead and get these plans going. We want port. No divisions. What do we mean? What do you mean? Find every division. Port there. The smaller group is going to go for this land here. This was very important. We take that. We definitely just want to grab this for a safety net. And then this land here. We want this airfield. And then we'll go for this choke point. We're just immediately going to go right for that. We'll take Special Operations Command units, and we're going to put them on this front line, and we're going to hold this desert and see if we can draw those tanks and infantry fighting vehicles down to us. But, well, now that action will take... We have to hold for... Doesn't look like any time at all. And what's our naval supremacy of the Caspian Sea? Non-existent because our boats are damaged. Probably. Alright, so let's do this. We're going to do air interception here. I'm going to move 500 of these. Where are they coming from? We're going to move this back half over this. We'll see what happens here. Alright, so we got air superiority. What did this do for us? Go back to production. I'm gonna change where we're making these. We're gonna have these coming out of these two docks again. And we're gonna bump these up to 5. And also get our last transport heli there. Oh, that's nice. I think at least. And we'll get the last thing, a drone. Outdated helicopters. Mutual investment. That's cool. What is an arsenal bird? We're gonna find out. All right. Looks like we are losing here. Let's see. Our Marines can actually make this trip right now. They cannot. Oh, and I'm out of time anyway. I'll go ahead and stop here, and I'll catch everyone on the next episode. Thanks for watching.